Patsy Johnson was born in 1935, the only daughter of Don and Edna Johnson. She was reared with two younger brothers in a loving home where great emphasis was always placed on church, education, and community service. Her father was a farmer and contractor who served on the school board. Her mother was a teacher and president of the PTA who was always active in their community and, as Patsy recalls, never said no to a call of service. Growing up in Miller Grove, Texas, just southwest of Sulphur Springs, Patsy dreamed of being a teacher. She loved stories about her ancestors. She fondly claims to have been reared in a compound with grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and a constant stream of callers. She excelled in reading and piano, serving as president of her class and the Future Homemakers of America. She graduated valedictorian in a class of 7 from Miller Grove High School. She attended East Texas State Teachers College in Commerce, graduating with honors in just 3 years. She began her first year of her career teaching in El Paso in 1955. Her life as a mother began in the 1960s with the births of her 2 children in Houston. Her first husband eventually took a job in Nacogdoches. During her first few years in Nacogdoches, Patsy taught high school as she pursued her master's degree in education at Stephen F. Austin. By 1969, she was part of the SFA faculty, teaching home economics and assisting with fashion shows and auctions for Alpha Delta Kappa. In 1970, she published her first work, Role Modeling for the Student Teacher. By 1973, she had earned her doctorate in management from Texas Woman's University. In the 7 years that followed, she published 5 more works, and in 1980, she married Leon Hallman. She remembers her mother's voice charging, "When someone asks you to do something for your community, you do it." And though she remains humble about her achievements, Patsy's resume of community service would certainly make her mother proud. In 1989, Patsy and Leon created what would become the Texas Blueberry Festival. The Chamber's festival celebrated its 20th anniversary this past June. Patsy has earned a multitude of achievement awards. She was named SFA's Distinguished Professor in 1990, the American Association of University Women's Woman of the Year in 1993, and was inducted into the Nacogdoches Women's Hall of Fame in 2003. She was instrumental in facilitating SFA's strong field-based teacher education research, managing grant funds and leading students on research excursions to different parts of the U.S. She also assisted Leon in facilitating SFA's exchange student program, traveling to Japan 3 times. She served as the Associate Dean of Education for 8 years, then as the Dean for 3 years, after approximately 60 published academic and nonfiction works and 36 years of service to SFA. She retired with Leon in 2005. Retirement has allowed her to direct her focus to more endeavors that benefit our community. Besides enjoying time with her family, Patsy continues her community involvement by working with several organizations. She chairs the Evangelism Committee of the First United Methodist Church and is on the board of the AgriLife Extension Service. Patsy leads workshops for various organizations, including the Christian Women's Job Corps. She is active in the local chapter of the American Association of University Women. Most of her volunteer time is devoted to her new love, the old Nacogdoches University building. Patsy has researched and promoted this historic treasure, a unique feature of the rich tapestry of Nacogdoches' heritage. In spite of her lengthy list of folklore and historical publication, Patsy says she doesn't consider herself a writer, but instead a storyteller, which perhaps explains her passion and drive for compiling and sharing the story of the old university building. She has compiled timelines, artifacts, and other literature detailing the fascinating history of this community landmark. She works tirelessly to raise funds and promote its historic value to residents and tourists. Patsy's love and devotion to community has roots which run as deep, perhaps, as those of her family's 300-year-old oak, known in her stories about Miller Grove as the Big Tree. Some of our town's most influential citizens call her a remarkable community leader with the heart of a servant who gives of herself beyond one's expectations. This year, she'll add one more title to her list of honors. The Nacogdoches County Chamber of Commerce proudly names Dr. Patsy Hallman its 2009 Citizen of the Year.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Patsy Hallman, our Citizen of the Year. And that video was well worth the wait. Congratulations.
All my friends, my family, I am simply overwhelmed. How can I thank you for this honor? I'm humbled at the thought of being on the list of all those people who previously received this award. I have such mixed emotions tonight. I feel unworthy, I feel delighted, and I feel honored in ways I've never been honored before. So with joy, I want to thank you all, Bruce and Donna and Paul at the Chamber, the Awards Committee, Betty and the Banquet Committee. Most of all, I want to thank the community for giving my family and me the opportunity to live and work and serve in this fine place. My family is here this evening. I wish you could meet every one of them. Bethany Spurrier from Houston, works for a large oil company there. Dave and Kelly Spurrier from Longview. Dave chairs the Wells Fargo Financial Office. My grandchildren are here. Michael, an athlete in Spring Hill Schools and an honor student, and Catherine, another honor student who is my riding partner. My brothers are here, Dr. Coy Johnson, an attorney in Sulphur Springs with Patsy, his wife, and Dr. Lynn Johnson from North Texas University with his wife, Linda. Patsy and Linda are special to me because they're my only sisters. And a special surprise visitor tonight is my only girl cousin among us Johnsons. And then, of course, there's Leon, my partner, who is our real model for community service in our family. There are all sorts of friends here, too, that I'm so grateful for. At our table are Kelly's parents, the Rains. At a nearby table are the Riders of Nacogdoches, the folks from the church, especially those cornerstones back there that Leon and I have taught in Sunday school for 15 years. Dean Finkenberg and the people from SFA. Various historical groups, especially those that are associated with the old university building. I thank you all for coming. We came to Nacogdoches 46 years ago, and we found one of the prettiest places in the world to live. We found an education town with worthwhile work to do. We found friends for the asking, churches for the choosing, a good place to rear our children, and now a great place to retire. Tonight, I'd like to remind you of three things that I think are points about our town that cry out for our continued attention. First of all, our natural environment. The giant oaks, the magnificent pines and the stately pecans, the dogwoods, azaleas and camellias, the gardens, arboretum, and the natural trails, the quiet wooded neighborhoods. We are rich with nature's bounty, and we must be vigilant to protect it and nurture this environment. We're so accustomed to the beauty that we forget how quickly it can be eroded if we're not vigilant with our guidelines for development and our programs for protection. Some of you may not know that every year we ask the SFA students why they come to SFA, and always on those surveys, the number one reason they give is the beauty of the area. Secondly, I want to remind you that we've always been an education town, and we've never wavered in our support of our educational institutions. 150 years ago, the people of this town, who were then living in simple frame buildings, gathered together all their resources to build that magnificent brick building, the first one in the town, so that it could have a fine university. And we continue the support of that institution as a living monument to the value, the high value we place on education. Recently, the paper has mentioned some challenges that our educational institutions face. But my friends, we must never forget that any challenge to the schools are a challenge to the community. They're community challenges, and within the community, we'll meet those. Thirdly, I want to mention that we are rich in Nacogdoches with historical sites. I believe it's important that we join together to preserve them and protect them. They're a gold mine for us. They are great community treasures, and if we have a coordinated and purposeful program of attention to them, they can enhance our town now and in the future. Our natural environment, our educational institutions, and our historical sites. What a great heritage we have. I want to say a word of thanks to lots of people, but most of all to each individual here, because this room is filled with leaders and community servants. You are the people that make this a great town. And finally, I want to say that my family and I pledge our support to continued service in this great town, and we thank you so much for this honor this evening.